Apple stock is rocketing towards new highs this morning after smashing expectations on the top and bottom line last quarter, with iPhone sales soaring. And for the first time ever, revenue from wearables and accessories like the Apple Watch and AirPods outpaced revenue for the Mac computer. Let's talk about it now with Angelo Zino, who covers Apple at CFRA. He has a buy rating on the stock. Angelo, good morning. Good to see you. You know, a year ago, analysts were talking about doomsday for Apple. There seems to be a huge comeback quarter. CEO Tim Cook calling this a, quote, blockbuster quarter all the way around. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would agree here. I mean, a year ago, interestingly enough, if you look at the areas that really hurt the company, it was iPhones in China witnessing steep declines. If you kind of look at the December quarter here and you look at really where the beat came from, it really came from iPhones, which beat our number by about 4 billion, growing about 8%, as well as China, which, you know, returned to growth, growing 3%. And, you know, it was the first time we saw growth in both iPhones and China since the September quarter of 2018. Now, I think a lot of that does have to do with easy comparisons, but I think at the same respect, you have to commend Apple for really pricing the iPhone 11 correctly here, $50 lower than it did the iPhone 10. And I think that's a big reason why you saw the iPhone 11 do as well as it did in the December quarter.
Angelo, do you think the coronavirus will ruin Apple's year? If they can't produce some of these phones that they have potentially coming in at the end of the year, they've already closed one retail store. Shouldn't investors be a little fearful off of this news?
I think you have to be cautious, but I think at the same respect, listen, they've got they do hold a decent amount of inventory, about 6 to 8 weeks. At the same respect, when you kind of look at the guidance that they provided here, yes, it was a wide range of 63 to 67 billion, but still well ahead of where we anticipated as well as where the street anticipated. And as a result, I think, you know, at least from a demand landscape, it shouldn't hurt Apple as it may many other providers out there.
Do you think that, Angelo, that Apple is a $2 trillion company? Because this morning, Dan Ives of Wedbush is out with a note saying that he believes Apple can reach a $2 trillion market cap by 2021. Do you think that's realistic?
So when we look at, you know, our 12-month target price, it is $350. We boosted it today from $330. So we're not necessarily calling this a $2 trillion company. But that being said, do we think it has the potential to get to $2 trillion here over the next 2 years or so? Absolutely, especially if they can continue to show and demonstrate the success that they're showing on the wearable side of things, coupled with the services. And when you throw in the opportunity on the 5G side of things, yeah, I mean, there's no reason for them to not kind of gravitate to that point.
Angelo, real quickly, Apple CEO Tim Cook sidestepped on the earnings call the timing around the 5G iPhone. Do you think this phone hits the market this year? Because I think the market has baked in a big 5G super cycle starting later this year.
Yeah, I mean, when we actually look at the estimates for the street going for fiscal 21, the hype is definitely high for 5G, but the estimates don't necessarily show a super cycle, and we're not as bullish as many others are as terms of the as far as the 5G cycle is concerned. That being said, yes, we do expect a 5G phone to be launched this fall. I think it'll be interesting to see how Apple goes about it, because 5G gets very complex on the technology side of things and on the component cost increases. So it could be very possible where you see certain types of 5G capabilities announced here in the U.S., but maybe not in other type of emerging markets that don't have kind of the 5G adoption that maybe the U.S. may.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Angelo Zino, always good to see you. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.